We are live.
We got Jeff and JP in the morning.
Hey guys, gosh, the last time we did this,
Just started watching Community. That's why I started. Let's give a little bit. Let's give a little people for them to wake up and kind of like, oh yeah, I forgot the number one live stream out there is on right now with special guest Jeffrey Allen. But we're not going to get into that yet. We're going to kind of hang out and say good morning to everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Breakfast Runs. If you're out there tuning in right now, let us know if you hear us. We like to, and where you're actually listening from too. I kind of feel like doing this check right now to confirm that. Okay, so if you're out there listening right now, say hello. Let us know where you're kind of tuning in from, and then we want to say hello to all the big fans out there of this show right now. So thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Hey,
we got.
Jeff.
First off, this is my studio here. They're not supposed to know what we see right here. Okay, this could be anything. All right?
Anything.
And if you're reading this out loud, that's my daughter's move.
Okay.
All right. So we got Jeff Kessler. Good morning, fellas. Morning, buddy. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in today. We got old Richard Welch. Good morning, JP and Jeff. Good morning, Richard. Thanks for tuning in again. Okay.
Oh, yes.
We got Scott tuning in. What's going on, Scott? Man, Fun fact, Jeff is the only guy I know that drinks pumpkin spice lattes all year round. Honestly, I'm not going to knock that. This is why. I was very against the pumpkin spice movement that took place for a while until this season. It started getting cool around like October. I started diving into it. I'm not against it, okay? You drink what you... I'm at the age where you drink what you like. I don't care if it's an apple martini.
That's a real man talking right there.
Gosh dang right. I don't care if it's an apple martini or a pumpkin spice latte. And also, if anybody wants to check out the previous breakfast runs, head over to my YouTube channel, CrewTube. I changed it this week. Find it on CrewTube. And just subscribe there. Just kind of catch them up, all the other previous breakfast runs.
So where are we right now?
We are at Roast and Brew off of 19th Street in the Heights. They got a great menu here, great coffee. They're always so kind to kind of let us live stream.
And fun fact, if you like chocolate, they have the best chocolate right over there on the counter. I don't know if the owners are
Toblerone?
No, that's actually not.
I think they're great. I think they're great here.
Well, they have a lot of European chocolate from Denmark over there, so that's like the really good stuff, not the American bad stuff.
That's the grade A primo stuff.
So if you like chocolate like I do, get on over here.
Jared, thanks for tuning in, buddy. I'm trying to look good. I appreciate that.
Dude,
this is not from our... Well, the thing is, you usually dress up in blazers. Every time I see you, you're in a blazer, okay? That's the only reason I'm wearing... I never wear blazers.
Oh, you wore that for me?
I never wear blazers.
I thought about it, but then I was like, no, I'm going to wear my EnergyFunders polo. I'm going to go low-key.
I'm going to look like I'm working at a conference in a booth right now. That's the look you're going with. I respect that. You know what I mean? You're looking like you're at like Doug Eagleford working at a booth, giving out pens and mouse pads.
Yeah, I was doing that earlier at the gas station.
And we have Ethan. Morning, guys. Ethan is the CEO of these guys right here, Royal Completion Tools, one of the best guys out there. I highly advise y'all to hook up with him and check them out for some plugs that don't slip. Check them out. Royal Completion Tools. And we'll be kind of tuning into our sponsors later. All right, we have Michelle tuning in. Good morning. Morning. All right. Craig. You know Craig, right?
Yeah.
Morning, Craig. How you doing today? Thanks for tuning in this morning. And I guess, we're going to kind of get this kind of going as we normally do. Like 15th off again. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous breakfast runs on the CrewTube channel. I think we've had probably, I want to say like 20, 21 of these, which is exciting.
We've had a lot of good episodes.
We've had a lot of good BS.
You're one of those guys who, during quarantine, you're wondering what you needed to do.
Get out there.
And instead of sitting on your ass, you created what I still think is the best podcast. There's a lot of them out there these days. They seem to be growing like crazy, but I like to come on this one. I've been on a lot of other ones, but thanks for the invite.
Well, what makes you enjoy this one over other ones?
I genuinely like you.
Oh, okay. Well, that also helps too. The fact that we like each other. That we like each other.
It's easier. It's more fun and casual. It doesn't feel like it's pushing anything. We just get to talk, and that's why I like listening to the other ones. Not because I know it's going to be industry related, but we're going to talk some good shit.
About other stuff. Yeah. But here's the deal. I accept the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm not the smartest
Joe Rogan
guy.
of oil, right?
Yeah, the Joe Rogan. I just regurgitate shit. No, I'm just not and that's kind of one of those things where it's like, look. For example, I just had that Bitcoin podcast with David Little, right? I've heard about Bitcoin nonstop. All right, you see this, that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm comfortable enough to say what I don't know. So it was a great conversation because it was kind of like, hey, talk to me. I have no clue. And like, I'm not afraid to admit what I don't know and kind of have that conversation. And plus, you can get the oil and gas trends and what's the barrels of production going to C2 and Q3. That's not me. That's not my style. You'll never catch me talking about that. All right. So that's it. All right. But before we start, everyone, we got to do this. All right.
What are we doing?
Well, we're doing the commercial.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank our sponsor, Royal Completion Tools. A great group of people over there. These are the guys right here. And before we start, we got to play the commercial. Give them a shout out. And if there's any questions about sponsorships for either breakfast runs, I'm also starting something new. So breakfast runs is primarily for E&P operators, right? So what I'm going to start is something called Coffee and Beans. And pretty much what it is, I'm going to sit with either startup companies, tech companies, oilfield service companies, and I'm going to sit in kind of the same format like this. But if anyone's ever played the game Bamboozled, remember that game? The jelly bean game?
Yes.
You know, like you have like a red and mine will taste strawberry and yours will taste like vomit or like cat piss or something like that. So that is going to be the premise of this. You know, it's going to be entertaining. That's educational. Fun. It's kind of like
Didn't you do that with Peter Marshall?
I did that with Peter Marshall. It's kind of like
shout out to Peter Marshall.
Pete Marshall. Oh yeah,
big boy.
You always tune in. I love that guy.
Peter.
Dude, the dude wrote me a handwritten note after saying thank you. I thought that was class.
He is a class act. That
Super
guy.
Class act.
You can say your watch to that guy.
So, and I hope he chimes in from that. If he doesn't, Pete, I'm on you. All right. So here we go. Royal Completion Tools. This is I think a $1.2 million budget to film this with crews working in 8 straight 12-hour shifts.
To all you completion engineers, company men, and consultants out there, are you sick and tired of losing sleep over frac plugs not getting the depth, not holding pressure, or not drilling out properly? Or maybe you aren't getting the best quality and service from the bigs. Well, stop burning the midnight oil and rest at ease while using Royal Frac Plugs, the most reliable and efficient frac plug on the market. Start your successful completions today by getting in touch with Royal Completion Tools. You can contact them via www.royalcompletiontools.com, sales@royalcts.com, or via LinkedIn. Contact them today to check out some of the best frac plugs out there.
Yeah,
fun.
Yeah, they let me do that.
That's so cool.
That's the best part.
That is so cool.
That's
good marketing right
It's
there.
great marketing right there. $1.2 million. Thank you, Royal Completion Tools. Not a penny went to waste.
That's right.
I got to say out to Justin Brignac. Good morning from Midland. I'll see you next week. We've got 2 more crew clubs out in Midland next week. And we got one on Thursday. That's to capacity in Oklahoma City.
You just checked in your flight with Southwest.
I did. I checked in my flight at 9, so I'm leaving tomorrow at 9:20. At 9:20 in like 7 seconds I checked in. I was already B24. So good morning to everyone except those people that in those 17 seconds that beat me. So Jeff, let's talk about this. Let's top notch. What's going on, Ivan? Hope Louisiana's treating you well, buddy. Thanks for tuning in this morning. All right, so Jeff, you and I know each other. You've been on 2 of my podcasts previously. You came on Around the Rotary, and then you came on my first.
That was right when you started.
You came on my first podcast of Energy Crew with the great DRW.
The great.
And that was some great banter. But for those few people out there, because I feel like the vast majority of our industry heard that podcast.
It was a tough one. This is the first one I'll be sober doing, because when did we start drinking at 10 a.m. and then
it was the Sipes lunch.
It was the Sipes lunch deal buyers event. No, it's a luncheon because he spoke. He spoke.
Yes.
And then we started drinking at 10 a.m. and I'm a lightweight. And then next thing you know, it's like 2 p.m. and we do a podcast. I was very scared to press play.
Going?
I was very scared, but it was a good podcast.
It was a great podcast.
It was fun. It was entertaining.
So we got a shout out from Laura right here, the CEO of EnergyFunders. She says, "Don't say anything wrong, Jeff," and we're putting that up here. So that's added pressure right now.
Yeah,
that's some added pressure. Right now. What a great team you're working with.
Really,
I mean, you got Ross, you got Laura. I mean, the whole
Jenny,
Virginia, yes. So I kind of helped EnergyFunders out at the end of the summer after my last. And I love the team. I love the concept. And actually, the fact that now you're posting these Instagram stories and these Twitter updates, that you're actually on the rig drilling some wells right now. Right. Before we get into that fun stuff, the operation stuff that we both love, the driller's coffee, the toilet paper that you can see through, all that fun stuff working on the rig. Let's kind of do a little background on yourself, kind of real brief, elevator. You know what I mean? Who you
pitch.
are, you know, what's your background, and kind of tell me what kind of, let's talk about Energy Fund, what you've been doing with that.
Yeah.
And let's segue into it, because before it was a concept, right? It was a concept, look, we can do this, we want to do this, da-da-da-da. But now that concept has come to reality because you're actually drilling some wells right now.
A lot of
We love wells in this industry. Drilling some wells, turn it to the right. So go ahead.
Elevator pitch. My name is Jeff Allen. My degree is in geology. I've worked for a number of different oil companies.
Where's your degree from?
UT San Antonio.
Okay.
I also, I started in exploration and then transitioned to more business development when I raised a certain amount of money to start my first company in 2016. That's with a few other great geologists and operators. POCO LLC, Ryan Price.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably the best operator out there.
He's listening. Hello, Ryan.
He's not, probably.
Never mind.
And then also Mike Jones of Charger Exploration. He might be listening.
Mike Jones is definitely listening.
Yes. And then, so I started there, and now I've transitioned to work with EnergyFunders because Laura is just so persuasive.
I was gonna say, so you had your own thing going on and stuff, and you went and then you started working with EnergyFunders, right? So tell me about that shift, how you kind of the calling, if you will, or I mean, as you said, Laura's persuade, or the push,
No,
the pull or the push.
It was the pull and the push. The perfect timing for me because I wanted something big. I didn't want to just go work for somebody.
Yeah.
I wanted something with longevity and what. Not just Laura being a badass in herself and somebody saying, hey, do you want to hang out with Laura all day? I'm like, yeah, it sounds pretty fun.
Easy.
But like you said earlier, it was a great team. So wanting to work with people is, I think, for me, very important. And could never live or survive in an environment where I didn't want to be there.
But I think that's also important too, because I think there's a lot of people right now. Either number one, they're transitioning their careers, right?
Oh, a lot of people are doing that.
Either they're transitioning their careers, or sometimes they just feel stagnant, kind of where they are. Like the whole the pandemic's over. No, it's not the case. Whatever. Go with me here. The pandemic's over. All right, and people feel kind of okay. Well, that was 2.5 years. I'm kind of stagnant in my career. I'm stuck in my career. Now what? And I think that's so important to say. Is like, yeah, you could chase that title, you could chase the cash and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, if you're not working with people that you truly enjoy working with, I mean, it's that much more difficult to find, I guess, whether it's happiness, satisfaction, whatever that is in life. So I think that's great that you're teaming up like who you want to work with, along with your career development.
Your mic is covered by your lapel. I don't know if that's an important thing.
Okay, well, why don't you focus? I asked about you, not about picking me apart. All right.
Basically, it came down to EnergyFunders has a vision. They're not just an oil and gas company. They want to be a new voice for oil and gas, which is like some of the videos we've been shooting about education. We want to be a new voice of education because, we have hundreds of investors from all over the world investing in our fund, and most of them know nothing about oil and gas. So I think it's fun to educate them. We want to bring that rig experience to them.
Well, here's the deal, because you have a lot of investors, as you said, that aren't really familiar with the oil and gas industry. Right. And I think education and bringing people on board, having them understand kind of the processes, the operations, what to expect in the oil and gas industry, I think that's so crucial. But why don't you kind of back up a little bit, because there's a lot of people that maybe have heard of EnergyFunders or all that stuff. And I'm like, look, this isn't advertisement. This is a cool concept. That's the reason I went on board to kind of help them a little bit.
And you still do.
I still do. We got something coming up. Stay tuned for that. But the thing is, talk to me about the concept, that what you dug about it, kind of what you're like, okay, I like this. I want to get on board with this.
Okay, so I've been raising money for my own personal oil and gas investments and for other people for quite a long time. But as many of us know that are in the industry, capital has been completely destroyed. Quick elevator pitch, the last 10 years, all the money went to the horizontal plays.
Yep.
Then that, they all lost money. We had 800 plus bankruptcies and smash goes, and the private equity world just kind of screwed everybody over. And then and now they're all pushed towards ESG nonsense.
Yep.
That's not going to make anybody any money, and that's not going to help the world at all. And so oil and gas was left stranded where we need production, but we also need investors to execute these wells. So with EnergyFunders, which they saw this as well, and Laura does, they saw we should open it up. Oil and gas investing is kind of in a good old boys club.
Dude.
So now with the internet, I don't know if you've heard of it.
Al Gore invented it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
You can see a lot of things on there. What we are doing is utilizing, because oil and gas technology has always kind of been in the past as an industry. So we're trying to bring that to the forefront, just like Cadre or some other Realty Mogul websites where you can just at a click of a button invest in a real estate group. Now you can do that with oil and gas. So I thought that was brilliant.
So it's kind of the same principle of those real estate crowdfunding sources.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and EnergyFunders was started back in 2015, actually, by somebody, a real estate executive.
Okay.
And so they had the same vision. They were very, very intelligent to see this. I think they were a little early, and they might have not executed correctly. And so now the company name is the same, but everything else is different. So there's new owners, and like Laura came on as CEO.
Now it's more. Now the team is primarily oil and gas.
Company. Yeah.
Oil and gas.
We have a full-fledged staff of engineers to landmen to geologists. We actually, I think, have so many geologists. I think we have 4 geologists on our team. Which is pretty cool. Yeah, right? It's pretty cool. I'm like the least geology of all of them.
I'm the cool geologist.
No, I'm like the least of all of them. But
so let's talk about kind of the capital investment in the oil and gas industry, because right now what we're seeing is, obviously, so this is my thinking stage where I really bust out the questions.
Yes,
all right?
Let's go.
So right now, and obviously I want to get to the price of oil and kind of what's going on right now. But before this, I mean, for the past 18 months, or even before that, 20 months, 21 months, there's been kind of a big big shadow on the industry, whether it's policies that are anti-oil and gas, whether it's, oil going down to negative 37. It's been a very unattractive market. Now you got the traditional investors kind of getting persuaded or making these stances, we're not going to invest in dirty fossil fuels and all that stuff. And now, whether it correlates to kind of where we're at now. So what EnergyFunders does, I mean, the traditional way to kind of raise capital in industries, private equity firms, all that stuff. What y'all are doing, y'all are kind of bypassing that and bringing it to the streets because, as you said, it was like before it was Good Old Boys Network. I didn't know you to know someone and be at the table, and then it was so confusing on what I'm actually getting, when I'm getting. Y'all simplify that.
We did
for everyone.
Yeah, really. I think that was the best part, is how simplified we made the entire process. Because if you're some guy off the street, oil and gas seems so weird, so out there.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they understand stocks. Like, nobody understands
or
stocks.
Real estate.
Or real estate. It's like, no, you actually don't. You need to find a team that has the reputation, the track record. And that's what we've been putting together.
And
our track record and the ethics. So that's what we've been putting together. And we hope to be that new voice in oil and gas where people think of us as the reputable, like not the snake oil salesman, which so many people in the industry have that reputation.
They've had the experience of that.
And a lot of that comes back to bad operators.
Yep.
Operators will make or break a good well. So you can have the best well, but if you have a bad operator, it is not going to turn out well.
Yep.
Or the costs are going to skyrocket and ruin your economics, your IRR. So what we're doing in EnergyFunders, we're backed by some phenomenal OG oil and gas wildcatters.
Some people that get the business, get the people versus.
Yeah, and they know it. We're not going to work with a bad operator or a bad anybody. I was just telling you about, we were on the rig and Halliburton had put the SP curve right next to the rig and just like some runoff mud instead of running it to the pit. I had been on how many rigs I've been on? I'd never thought of that.
3 rigs total.
Multiplied by 10. And then I had never thought of that, but that's one way they cut corners, or they just get lazy on the job. And I love learning things. And that's the fun part of this industry. There's always something to learn. Nobody knows it all, and nobody is really that smart. Everybody in oil and gas should have that energy of, I want to keep learning. So that's why I was in geology, but I didn't see myself doing that for the rest of my life. I wanted to be, I like wearing all the hats, like landman, business development. I just think that's so fascinating as an industry to have so many working parts come together to create the thing that we all need, which is oil and gas.
How has the conversation, so you've been at EnergyFunders for what, 5 months? 4?
Time
3?
flies.
I know, seriously.
It's like 8 months.
8 months?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, from your initial time there when you're talking to people, I guess 8 months ago oil was around what, 40, 42 or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're on
Good
point.
job, JP.
It's almost like it's your job.
Can I get more Adderall coffee, please? So pretty much, if it's $42, okay, when you're talking to investors, trying to get these people that have never invested in the oil and gas industry before, how has the tone and the conversations changed from 8 months ago to kind of recent conversations you're having now with people that have not exposed to the oil and gas industry? Great question, JP.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Basically, back then, you're trying to educate. I don't want to say sell. We were trying to educate people that prices will go up.
Yes.
And for somebody who doesn't know about oil and gas, it sounds like, well, they go up and down. It's very risky. Who are you to know? Well, clearly people in the industry did know, because we had the basic supply and demand issue. And so at that point, it was getting them to realize two things. One, EnergyFunders were drilling conventional shallow wells. So for those that don't know, just straight holes, non-pressured, so they're very cheap.
Yep.
So we don't need $80 oil. We want it, but we don't need even 60. Our break even is down like 25, 30.
Okay.
So that kind of hedges really nicely where you don't have to worry about the huge swings.
And you're also spreading the risk out amongst various different wells, right? PDP, PUP, yeah.
Right. So our fund is blended between buying production, drilling true PUDs, and then also Bitcoin mining on stranded natural gas. But we can get to that later. But the conversation changed where then we started seeing prices go up, and people started emailing and calling us saying you were right.
Made your job a little easier.
Yeah, can we invest? And I'm like, yes, please. So
here's the I told you so fee.
Yeah, and then we drilled our first well out of the gate, thank God, was a phenomenal gusher.
When was that?
October,
okay.
I believe is when that one came spudded. And thank God that was our first one, great well. And so it looks like we know what we're doing, at least, which we do.
You need that, though. You need that.
We do. And then after that happened, it was just nonstop investors coming in.
Okay.
And what's fun about EnergyFunders is these people find us, I have no idea, the internet. I don't know, www.theinternet.com, I think.
Oil and gas investing.
Yeah. And so we really haven't done as much marketing as we probably should have, which is even crazier to think
cool,
of.
though.
It is. So, and what we're hoping is that people, if you're looking at your portfolio and you think, oh, I've done some real estate, I have some basic stocks, well, I also should be in energy. Yeah. Well, right now, or before EnergyFunders, what would you do? Buy futures? That's crazy.
Invest in
super risky. In some public companies.
Yeah, public
companies. Look at Exxon. Their board is being taken over. They just publicly said that they're chasing for that net zero BS. And I find it more risky to buy into these companies because also you have this. If you don't follow the Ross report, that's one of my favorite.
Go ahead, plug Ross real quick.
Plug in Ross.
If you find his fake Twitter account, report it. He's been screaming about that all morning.
But no, really, I'm a huge nerd. I love learning about oil and gas, but also not just oil and gas, but foreign policy and the realities of like global tensions with energy. But basically, in the Ross report recently, it was a really good understanding of how there's a public and private divide right now. Public companies and private companies, where most of the new rigs are coming online.
They're not public.
With private companies. And the public companies are, they're being overtaken by the ESG movement, the net zero stuff, and a lot of their debt is based on you can't drill new wells.
Yep.
You have to develop what you have. So that creates even more roadblocks for them to get to a place where they can actually take advantage of these prices.
So even if you want to capitalize, let's say I'm an investor from Idaho, even if I want to capitalize on the commodity prices of oil and everything that's happening right now, you can't bet that on a public company because the public company's not in charge. It's Wall Street that's kind of steering that ship. Yeah, right.
And you see that now, the ESG, BlackRock, and we're going to learn a lot in the next few years. What's going on with Europe, what's going on just within our own country. We're going to learn a lot about where those allegiances are. Is the ESG movement actually helpful? Is it going to return any real money?
But do you have any faith that DC or any government and all that stuff will actually look in the mirror and be like, wow, we were a little bit wrong about this?
No, I think everybody should read Tariq Fancy, who used to be the former chief investment officer for sustainable investing at BlackRock.
Okay.
He published a pretty long form essay entitled "The Secret Diary of a Sustainable Investor." So this guy was in the weeds of this stuff.
Okay.
Right? He was taking the money and putting the sustainable stuff in there. And then basically, just in that summary of that paper is, these are not going to return money, and it's all fugazi. And
it feels good, but doesn't mean it's actually.
It feels good. And that's where we're at as a society with the internet.
Let's get there. Let's go down that road.
Yeah, let's go down there. Is people wanting to help, which I think they genuinely do. I think like Greta Thunberg and all these ESG people, like even my older sister owned a ESG company. It was actually one of the first ones. I'm very proud of her for that. She was wrong, but I think it was these people genuinely want to help.
Yeah.
They're just misguided, and they think for whatever reason oil and gas is negative. But like I get out on these rigs, and I'm full of this excitement of look at what we're able to do. We're drilling thousands of feet
It's
into
still
the ground.
mind-boggling.
It is.
You're not even seeing it.
So Laura and I were driving on the way to the rig, and we passed up a big refinery, and you just get this wonder of how all this stuff came together.
Yeah.
How did we started with fire, agriculture, steamboats, everything, and now we got oil and gas, and we've had oil and gas, and that has been the catalyst for our society to be safer, more reliable, and able to like this cool place we're sitting with air conditioning. And
I mean, we're able to stream
iPhones,
right now.
yeah,
Whatever it
internet,
is. It touches every part. Al
Gore's made out of oil, I'm pretty sure.
It touches every part of our lives, and that's the thing. People do want to do good.
Yeah.
But the question is, and that's kind of the point of these things, breakfast runners or podcasts, or even getting out there, the voice that our industry has had lately, which is not just the whole drill baby drill thing, which to me that's not constructive or productive. It's the conversation we're having highlighting the human side of our industry.
Right.
But that's the thing. A lot of people do want to do good, but it's often not educated to kind of the realities of everything.
Yeah,
For example, what we're seeing in Europe.
And then it becomes emotional. And then it becomes this you versus me. Then it becomes identity. Then it becomes this snowball effect where you just can't stop it. I think that's where we're at. But what will stop it is, one of the biggest polls that just came out, I forget who did it, but the three main issues that people are worried about in America are the inflation.
Yep.
Logistics, like why certain things aren't showing up on your door.
Yeah.
Why
Starbucks has no sandwiches. No, seriously. I mean, when we're talking about this, I mean, it really is kind of trickling down every convenience in life.
Right. And then the cost of living, which includes energy. And what we all want, when our pretty, like, beautiful, easy, which our life is very easy in America, when that gets threatened, that's when people will wake up. So and then they'll be like, wait, why is this suddenly so expensive? Why am I paying 3x for electricity? Why are these basic things I took for granted suddenly impeding my ability to enjoy my life? That, I think, is going to be the big turn.
I would hope so.
And that'll be coming pretty soon.
Man, I think that's going to be coming a lot sooner than later. But I think at the same time, I think just kind of the population and kind of what I'm seeing is that it's going to be, big oil's causing this, but they don't have the full picture though.
Right.
So I mean, you're saying that there's going to be a change or a turn or a kind of a self-reflection. I personally don't see that happening because people don't like admitting that they're wrong. Yeah. People don't like admitting that they don't know what they're talking about.
I had to learn how to be wrong. I've been wrong most of my life.
Yeah.
So it's a good feeling. Suddenly be right. Ooh, man.
So I think it's one of those. So energy. So you're drilling. So tell me about what do you have going on operations wise? Let's kind of get into the price of oil and kind of where that's going. We had you guys brought me on y'all's Twitter space on Friday, and we actually there was like an hour-long conversation on the price of oil, kind of getting to 100, and then after you all shut it down, a new room opened up for like 5 hours.
I joined it. I ended up joining it, and dude, it went till 8:30 p.m.
And we started that at 1?
It ended up getting 300 and something people in there.
Yeah.
And we started at 2:30.
So it's a hot topic right now.
Yeah, so bringing it back, I am brand new to Twitter. Nothing makes you feel old and out of touch like joining a new social media platform.
Bro, I tell people, like, I'm 41. They're like, 41? I'm like, yeah, I make memes for a living. Like, that's my job. I got a master's and I make memes for a living.
So you're good at it.
And I'm like, I'm 41. Like, ew, gross, 41. I'm like, I don't think it's that old. Shit, come on, man.
You look great.
Oh, stop
Stunning.
it. Go on.
So I'm new on Twitter, at the EnergyFunder, if you want to follow me, or EnergyFunder, the company. So we did this space, and I've been obsessed with all these spaces or whatever, and just listening to what this Twitter sphere is saying. Some of them get 1,000 people or more listening, whether it's about Bitcoin or some stock or oil and gas. It's the biggest topic right now. And I think when I was listening to this Twitter space, they were talking about reasons oil and gas is going to go up. But one thing nobody talked about, and there was like 400 people in this Twitter space, and some of them were CFOs or like C-suite people in different companies, Canadian operations or otherwise. Nobody talked about the conventional side. Everyone's still talking about resource plays, which they should, but a big piece of this puzzle is the conventional old school. I'll just call them the old school guys because they actually are old. That average age is like 72.
Okay.
So they're retiring or actually dying, and we don't have that next generation that's picking up the pieces to drill new wells. A lot of the production throughout the last 20 years has been conventional wells. There hasn't been as many conventional wells drilled in the last 20 years. They've been mostly horizontal wells, which are great, but the decline curves and just the difficulty of getting it out, the cost. But in conventional side, especially on the Gulf Coast, it's easier to get it to market. It's cheaper to get. It's not as much of a capital intensive, and those people are disappearing. So it's a whole other section of the industry that's just totally disappearing. And being the president of SipesHouston.org, which is an organization for energy independence and entrepreneurs, a lot of those members are that demographic. They all own their own company. They've drilled, they've wildcatted, they've done their whole thing. Yeah. Those people are all 70 plus. The next generation, like Scott, I don't know if he's still on here, but he's on the board.
Scott's on it.
He's the youngest badass. I don't know. Have you ever had a drink with Scott?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Oh, he's legit.
Yeah. We're very lucky to have him join up. But what we try to do is foster as an organization, foster that next generation of oil finders or entrepreneurs in oil and gas, because we want to. I genuinely want to help people.
Do you see that kind of that being kind of a big opportunity for people to kind of start learning that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing where it's you could see it's negative and oh no, the sky is falling. All the people pushed out of oil and gas because of age or whatever reason it might be. That creates a vacuum for you to be the new sheriff or to create a stamp on the industry. Like last night, I was staying up reading. Like for those that don't know, but the geologists that do know, some of the geology societies that have now died off or turned course used to put out phenomenal field studies where you could, have a PhD level education in exploration in the Frio in Texas. I was reading a book called just Typical Oil and Gas Fields of South Texas. Okay. Right. And I love these old dusty books, and they have the most detailed information. The geologists that worked there, like that is so fun and fascinating, but there haven't been many new fields. There haven't been many new field studies done, although there's a lot of opportunities out there. Like Scott himself has an opportunity that, he wants to raise money for, he needs to raise money for. I think we all do. And that's where EnergyFunders I saw was the perfect bridge to get investors into oil and gas. And if we can have reoccurring investors that trust us, enjoy the tax breaks, because the best tax breaks out there are for oil and gas drilling. And then just look at us like, oh, every year I want to put $20,000, maybe $100,000 in EnergyFunders in one of their new funds. And we have a lot of new funds coming up this year, a Bitcoin-only fund, a couple oil and gas funds, a Wildcat fund.
Oh, really?
So it'll be pretty exciting.
That's exciting.
I mean, dude, the company's moving so fast. We've just hired some more people. That's
awesome.
I haven't been this excited for something in a while. So, being out there on the rigs, we're drilling like maybe 6 wells before March. We have 4 already planned. We drilled 2.
Dude, things are blowing and going for y'all.
Super, super fun.
That's exciting, though.
So we have our next well is rigging up on Friday. So I'm going to go out there and see it and shoot some videos, because we're trying to educate people. We're like, oh, what is rigging up? What is a well log? The
I think that's
stuff.
I love the fact that you're creating this stuff, and I actually hope you share it to other platforms as well, because this type of stuff, educating the masses, educating the audience on kind of like the steps and the processes and the manpower, the people power that go into actually spudding a well. Like, not a lot of people understand that.
Oh, I love that part of going out there, and they call us the assholes because we're from Houston, the city. We're like
city boys.
Yeah, we're the
corporate.
Corporate guys. We sit in the truck with AC.
You're the safety police. People put their glasses on when you go out there.
But no, you roll it there. I just love me. They probably think I'm the craziest dude. I wear my boots with my jeans tucked in.
Square toe or round toe?
Round toe only. Don't give me that square toe bullshit.
It was a question that I just asked the people out there.
Don't ruin my morning.
It's just a question, man. I thought there's no off topic there. That's a safe space, man.
Super safe. I just get a little riled up.
It's okay. So round toe, okay. I'm fine with that.
My jeans are tucked in. I'm walking out to the rig. I just want to meet everybody and shake their hand and know their names. They have names like Ducky, Smitty.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And I love it. Like Louisiana,
Arkansas. It's like a mafia thing. There's Joey 2 times.
Yeah. Why do they call him 2 times?
I'm gonna go grab the chicksons.
Yeah. And so I never go to a rig empty-handed, whether it's donuts or kolaches or Whataburger,
sushi, California roll,
or like nice toilet paper. I think that's a big thing, because I look at these guys as doing things I could never do or want to do. I've worked on like mud logging trucks when I was in college and right out of college, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. It's fun, but I was like, these guys are salt of the earth people I look up to. They're hard. They are super hard workers. I don't think the industry gives them enough flowers or kudos, right, or attention.
I agree.
And I think it'd be great if we went out to rig and
That's going to happen.
Podcasted and just met some of these people so they could tell their story.
That's going to happen.
You're going to have to be okay with curse words though, because these guys.
Pretty sure everyone that follows Energy Crew is okay with curse words.
Well, God damn it, that's good to hear.
I mean, that's what we got to keep it real. We got to keep it real.
There you go. On the podcast. But so it brings it all together. And I hadn't been on a rig in a while. I drill my own private wells in San Patricio County with Mike and Ryan, and we're actually spudding one next week, and that's super exciting for me too.
I love hearing this.
Since the first rig I was ever on, we pulled cores out. I mean, you pull this core out that's like 12,000 feet. It's warm. It's out of the earth. It's amazing. There's like oil in it. It's like, what are we doing?
I know. The fact that we can do this.
Why are more people not just like, why are we evil? I can't figure it out. I understand their perspective, but I'm excited for this turn because when people want to put their lights on or heat their homes, they're going to be very happy when we do it with natural gas.
Well, here's the deal.
Coal consumption is skyrocketed.
Yes, it has. It has.
Because people and governments are realizing, well, I don't want to riot, so let's just do coal for another decade. Like all these net zero ideas, like let's say 2050, 20 whatever, it's all marketing BS.
It is.
I mean, there's just nobody in their right mind can actually believe this stuff. And that's an opportunity for us as an organization, as an industry, as a company, from a macro and micro level to start changing our voice, how we market ourselves. There was a great ad, and I forget, was it Energy Transfers? And it was in the NCAA championship in football.
Pretty much how life revolves around natural gas.
Yeah, it was like two people going on a date.
Yeah.
And it started with petroleum products, and then after, like without it, and they like just looked disheveled, and like there was no restaurant, no beer, or something like that.
I guarantee they're happier with petroleum products in their lives.
Oh, absolutely, of course. And is there something else? Like, I'm a huge nuclear nerd. I think nuclear is a huge answer. And if ESG people actually cared about the environment and what they spew, and they weren't just direct and absolute hypocrites, they would be more of a voice on nuclear rather than anything else. But that's a whole other topic. But we're doing EnergyFunders. I just shot a short little video. I don't know if you saw it. I was on a rig talking about how exciting this is. Saw it. And so we want to be like that voice of positivity. And we're putting together a new generation, right? Putting together a lot of stuff. And you're on these rigs, and some, you'll have a young 24-year-old, and you'll also have a guy who's like 50. It's just really, it's a wild industry.
It just brings everyone together. But I mean, kind of what you were saying, kind of echoing what you're saying. Every industry that starts out was not the clean. There's been mishaps in every industry.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But the problem with our industry is kind of twofold. Number one, we do a horrible job being proactive and kind of telling our story and kind of who we are and all that stuff. We hide behind, the ivory tower and just respond when we have to respond.
Right.
So the fact is, exactly. So the fact is, like, look, every industry has started out like with a black eye or has done something negative. Well, what about this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But whether it's the coffee industry, whether it's the silk industry, or whether it's the whatever industry it is, every industry has started off pretty poorly, just because it's kind of, we have not tried to change our image since the 20s, probably, even if we try to do it back then. So now is the time to actually kind of get out there and start having these conversations. I would love to normalize healthy energy conversations with people that whether they're against or pro.
That's one of the good parts. I'm part of the Baker Institute, the young professionals at the Baker Institute at Rice, and one of the things I really like about that is the conversations. Not just the people that they bring in, some top tier people at Rice, but it's like the number one think tank in America. But it's the conversations amongst the people, the members, because we have very polarizing views for many of us. And just to be able to sit there at like Hotel Zaza's bar and just have some drinks and talk, it's so refreshing. Because I feel like in today's world, and this might just be because of the internet, but when you get in person with somebody, it's really important just to have a dialogue. I don't want to be in a room where I agree with everybody all the time. That would be annoying.
Yeah.
I genuinely want to have
discussions
where I can hear not just what you think, but why.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all have the same why, or we want to help people and we want to better everybody's life. I just genuinely want to put our resources into the direction that's been proven, and decade after decade has helped us. And our demand is only going to go up. I love this thing. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of Steve Jobs or the iPhone, but it's really cool. It's just...
I love how you have a selfie thing on the back of your.
Is that called a selfie thing?
I feel like it is.
Hold on. Look at where I put it though. I put
below
it
the
too
apple,
low.
so people see the apple.
No. You're supposed to put it in the center, but I just grabbed it out of the. I didn't think obviously, and I just stamped it on there, and I was like using it, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't work.
I think it's a good selfie thing. But that's the thing. Having these conversations, you're right. People obviously are so charged up, whether it's any social media platform, about why they're right versus listening to the opposing view, whether it's oil and gas, renewables. And I'll use this example: the Chick-fil-A hot chicken sandwich versus Popeyes. Whatever it is,
wow,
people
you're really bringing out the.
I'm bringing out the dirt.
Today.
We bring out the hot topics here. Whew. But that's the thing, though. I mean, having these conversations where it kind of normalizes energy consumption, energy production, just energy, kind of the reality of energy is just kind of like having those conversations is so crucial. Yeah. It's such a. I'm not saying, look, agree with me 100%, but at the same time, understand that it's going to be a process. It's going to be this whole world that you want. It's
that's what it has to come down to. What world do we want, right?
I mean, do you want a world without Starbucks sandwiches being available? I mean, seriously.
That really sticks to you, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, I saw it today. I mean, that was going
it's a serious thing.
It really is. I mean, but that's the thing, though. The world we want. I don't want shortages. I don't want. Look, I'll make this kind of analogy. It might be a kind of a light analogy, but it's like, look, the ability for you to take your family to Disney World or to like Splash Town, whatever that is, you can do that because you have disposable income. You know what I mean? You're not spending that on cooling or heating your house or anything like that. I mean, if you're spending more on that takes away your disposable income as a family, and then it's just kind of like, so it's like, what do you want?
Right.
Like, what do you really want?
That's why, EnergyFunders is trying to democratize investing in oil and gas. We think everybody around the world should have the options to invest in a lot of different things. Mostly Americans, just put in a 401k, they put in a mutual fund, they get raked over the coals with fees, and just honestly not knowing anything, trusting somebody else. And a lot of my friends are in finance, and they really don't know anything. So you just can't control a company, right? So I have some money in stocks. I sold most of it, if not 90% of it last year, because I put my money where my mouth is, and I see oil and gas going up, and I can make a better return. Because stock market, I don't understand. It's overvalued. Sure, there's always these companies you can cherry pick, and that's one of the things on these spaces on Twitter. You hear these people that they just want to sound smart, like, oh, you can show me the fundamentals of this company. It's like, dude, nobody
is the smartest person.
Yeah, nobody knows fundamentals of any of these companies, and there's a reason.
But they act like they do.
And they act like they do. And so I think, stocks are good. I think real estate is really good if you can get your hands on some of it. And I think oil and gas, energy is really good. And I think now is the best time. We have a historic bull market. Oil's going to be $100.
Let's talk about. I mean, let's kind of get into that a little bit if you want. I mean, everything right now. I mean, in the past, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn, you're seeing oil prices just skyrocket. Yeah. I mean, we're talking. I mean, what is it this morning? 86.
I didn't even check it.
And then there was like a pipeline that in wherever that kind of popped, and kind of there's issues with that. So it's going up. I mean, where do you kind of see, I guess, I mean, obviously there's no crystal ball. We don't know. We're just kind of two bros talking right now at a coffee shop. Where do you kind of see this kind of the forecast of kind of oil right now with everything going on, whether it's the supply, demand, political unrest, the demonizing our industry when it comes to capital investment? Where do you see this going? Because right now it sounds like a train to just like go through the roof. I had this conversation with Monica last night.
First off, shout out to Monica. Better half. I mean,
way better half.
She's the better half.
She's way the better half.
Not you. Yeah.
I don't understand how she puts up with me half the time, but I dig it.
It's the long hair. You look like a rock star. So earlier you said just two bros in a coffee shop. Let's have some historical perspective of that, because a lot of great ideas throughout history have started by just a bunch of bros in a coffee shop or a pub.
Yep.
French Revolution, American Revolution.
Great ideas. Revolution.
All these great
wars.
Ideas.
Wars have been started over here. Okay.
So who knows what could happen.
You never know by 10:30 what the streets will do.
Yeah. So I think oil, without a doubt, is going to go to $100 per barrel. I don't think anybody could really argue it won't. The big thing would be if there's another pandemic. But I think most Americans are over the pandemic. That's not even a top 5 worry for people anymore, and it shouldn't be. Oil and gas is going. It's not that I want it to be over 100.
Right.
I genuinely don't.
I like the sweet spot of like 75,
65 to 75.
65 to 75. I'll take that all day. It's stable.
That's perfect.
I'd love that.
Because, you know, I think that what you'll see is obviously people drilling a lot with $100 or plus, and then when we get a supply reckoning, then prices will potentially come down. And that's really what it comes down to, supply and demand, right? So because we stopped drilling, because of the, you know...
For like 2 years.
Yeah, because of the current misguided administration, like hating oil and gas, you know, the fear of deep water moratoriums, the fear of federal leases being
interjecting,
gone. That stopped a lot of things. The environmental movement, these boards being taken over by these activists. You just have so many risks, and it's getting harder and harder to get from we have little supply to an oversupply. So that is, I see that being a 2-3 year window.
I do. I mean, the fact that we've slowed down operations productions for 2 years. Yeah. And then OPEC, what? I mean, I don't know the numbers, but OPEC not even be able to meet their
wow.
What? We got some theories.
OPEC can open up the hose anytime they want, but they want to make money.
Do they have the capacity to, though?
Yeah, I think they do.
Okay, all right. So we got an inside source over here on OPEC Plus. I dig that, but where is it going? But the thing is, though, this 2 year lag in activity and production, all that stuff, the drop in demand, obviously, so you know, supplies and then dipping in the reserves and all that stuff. It's not one of those things that we can fix by throwing rigs at it right now. It's one of those things that you're right. It's going to take time to level out that supply-demand issue. So this is not like I don't see this as a short-term spike.
No, and what I fear actually is it hits 100, and some of these companies are given a much long, when I say companies, I mean horizontal drilling companies, resource, maybe some publicly traded companies, and their leash is just given a little bit too much, and then they start doing the same thing they did before.
Just a short memory.
Shoving fracks into the ground, trying to get high IPs with huge drop-offs where they don't actually make money. You know, we know what happened before. I was hoping for this actually taking longer to get to 100 because I want more engineers and science to be applied to these resource plays, because I am 100% pro resource play. I'm 100%, you know, developing new technologies.
Yes.
And you know, oil and gas has been done the same forever. You go out on these rigs and you're like, that tool's been around since the 70s. Like, so, nothing's really changed.
Yeah, Colin McClellan did a picture about a 1923 rig in Kansas, and it was the exact same thing.
I loved that.
But so the thing is, though, you're right. I mean, historically, when you know things go down, all that stuff, it's usually, all right, let's cut G&A, let's do this. Let's kind of look at technology a little bit if it helps out and all that stuff. I think there's been a huge boom in technology in the oil and gas industry in the past 18 months.
Yeah, for sure.
So I agree with you. I kind of wish it was longer, so more of that technology would be normalized in our industry and kind of be adapted in kind of everyday operations.
Yeah, and I was out on the rig. I was really excited to talk to the rig hands, and you know we've used a few different operators, and they're really busy. I talked to Halliburton, the guys logging. They said, you know, because they let go so many people. This guy said he's overworked. He hasn't taken a day off in a long time. They just constantly have job after job, which is good. People are doing things. I like that. I like to hear that. So I hope that Halliburton's like, all right, well, we'll start hiring maybe another, you know, couple thousand people.
Well,
the problem with that and what we saw in this last downturn is a lot of people left the industry for good.
They don't want to come back.
For good. Yeah. And I know personally a lot of friends that were in that because they worked for these service companies and they're like, this is it. And they've moved on to totally different industries because you want stability. That goes back to the reliability and stability of oil and gas. You know, resource or renewables are not sustainable. They're unreliables, as Alex Epstein has coined the term, and it's.
Well, the problem with
it
is a good time. And that labor shortage is interesting too. I mean, you have some, you know, whether it's Walmart paying $18 an hour, or you know, hiring a trucker for $22 an hour. So it's like, well, I'd rather be home every night, you know, at 5:30 or 6 o'clock p.m. versus, you know, driving around or, you know, working on this track. So it's
another inside scoop, real story,
real time.
You know, I have my own personal wells down in San Patricio, and we are, and many companies are having this issues. Truck drivers to pick up your oil, they are late. They are missing pickups, which, you know, it's very frustrating. You try to look for other companies, they all say the same thing.
Same thing.
We are trying our best to find new workers. We're trying our best to find new drivers.
Well, what's going to fix that is going to be kind of shaving off certain requirements on like the drug tests on drivers. I'm being serious.
No, you're very right.
I'm being serious. Or they're throwing money at the problem that a lot of these companies don't have.
Right.
So what's the potential fix for this?
I remember, like, we have a family ranch back when North Dakota was booming, and one of our ranch hands got an offer because he was a local truck driver.
Okay.
And he got an offer, and I don't remember the amount of money, but I just remember his eyes being so big to go up to North Dakota to drive trucks for this company for oil and gas trucks. And he was just like, why would they pay me this much money? He thought it was a scam.
Yeah.
And he went for a while and made some good money, but then he doesn't like the cold. So he came back. Thank God. He's a great guy, great man. And it was fascinating the amount of money they were throwing these people because they needed drivers.
But are we going to find ourselves in the same boat?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it'll ever be like that again. It could be. I could be totally wrong, which I normally am. But I know that right now it's weird where you look in the industry where, we're missing pickups. We're constantly late. I mean, if I was Italian mobster, I'd be like, don't mess with my money.
Get rid of
it.
Yeah. You mess with my family.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But there's all these little pieces of the puzzle, and we at EnergyFunders, for example, really want to try to utilize the internet and utilize this next generation to try to build and pull them together. So whether it's on the service side, working with people like Matt Boyce of Epic Consulting, best petrophysicist out there. So if you need somebody to look at a log or read a log, go shout out to Matt Boyce. These kind of connections I think are really important, and I think it's my job to be around the next generation. Who's the who? What are they doing? That's kind of in the function. So I think what you're doing with the podcast and getting these conversations is really important.
And that's the thing. I mean, I think there's a lot the younger generation, if you will, the newer, whatever you want to call it. The importance of not just getting in and getting some field experience to understand what's going on. When you put your hands on. I mean, because I remember, before I worked offshore, I'd read these books, and it's like monkey board. I kind of understand what that is. And then once you step on it, you're like, okay, so that's connected to this. Like you start. So the field experience, number one, is huge, very, very crucial,
invaluable.
But also getting out and talking to people, getting comfortable away from your computer and actually sitting down and engage conversations. Because look, these business meetings, like, okay, I like this, we're going to this step, put a bit on this. That's not a conversation. That's not relying on, because look, if I'm not an engineer, if y'all don't know that, but if I'm drilling a well and all that stuff, I'm going to lean on the experts that know it, whether it's the directional company, the mud company, and all that stuff. But that needs to be a relationship there. And the importance of the younger generation getting out, networking. I don't care if it's someone that can do something for you at that moment, or it's someone that you're going to kind of tag up with, in 15 years, and y'all are both kind of in the same scenario. The importance of those relationships, those networks, and the knowledge is so crucial. And I'm hoping that there's already going to be a gap, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm hoping the gap isn't as wide as a lot of fears are.
That's what I'm doing, like I mentioned earlier, with SitesHouston.org, and just trying to get those people in the same room. Being on the internet is fine. I think that's a stepping stone to doing business in person, right? I don't think you want to be behind your computer forever. And shout out to Scott Leesburg, who I think might still be on here.
Yeah, he said the only reason that I'm with Monica is because of my hair, and that's kind of been a debate. And I'm not saying it's true or false, but
there's a reason why you don't cut it, though.
There's a reason why I don't cut. Well, I am going to be cutting it for Sky High for Kids.
Really?
Yeah, a couple long hair gentlemen and I are going to be kind of have a little competition to raise money for Sky High for Kids. To kind of.
Can't wait for that link in that video to come out.
Oh man,
I'll donate to that.
Y'all, the highest donation apparently gets to cut it.
Oh.
So that's just FYI there. I haven't launched anything yet, but it's gonna be happening. So Scott is listening.
Well, Scott's listening. So he came out of the woodwork, very young. Put a prospect together, which is like a map. For those that don't know, X. Like, hey, I want X dollars to drill this treasure map, and he raised money on Twitter. It still boggles my mind. There's a whole Twitter community.
Yeah.
And people, without ever having met him, was just like, yeah, I want to buy into this investment, which is crazy in a good way.
So he obviously didn't pick a square toe or round toe camp, or beans, no beans in the chili camp. He just kept it neutral to raise funds. I dig that. But smart move, Scott.
Yeah, he's a doer. And, we've had other people trying to replicate that.
Yeah.
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm just brand new to Twitter, but I've been able to sell deals through LinkedIn. Yeah. And that's one of the things that SitesHouston.org does is, we connect like buyers with ethical prospectors. And that goes back to relationship building and trusting people. And if you can make somebody money, they'll be with you forever. And that's one of the things that I'm excited with EnergyFunders. We have hundreds of investors. We're already showing progress, and a return. We can count on them and hope that they continue to stay with us. Because a lot of our funds, the minimum is $5,000, and you have to be accredited. But when those people start seeing results, that's what's exciting.
But it's also such a new concept. So to get people to kind of buy in and kind of get across that the finish line of "I told you so" or "You can trust us," you need the first round to be successful, and it sounds like it's extremely successful.
It's successful enough to have, we've closed the fund and we exceeded our expectation.
I love that.
It was very exciting. Like I said,
it was very challenging starting off.
Oh my gosh, the things that we were biting off, and this is a shout out to Laura. She's probably not listening.
Yes, she's
is. Probably working.
Or she'll say, "I was in my car. I missed the last half of it."
Yes. She has this big dream and wanted to attack it. And she's not the kind of person. There's certain people that will stick on a whiteboard and an Excel spreadsheet and just plan things forever and then never get anything done.
Dude, y'all bet on yourselves.
We went out there and we're like, screw it, we'll make it work. And we met the right people, thankfully. There were times where we were dead in the water, we thought, and we didn't know what we would end at. And you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And we just stayed true to that and kept grinding and meeting people and using our platform and doing things like this. We started doing webinars. Yeah. And every webinar we did, we brought in, I don't remember the number, but we brought in a substantial amount of new money. So we're like, wow, every time we do this, we do X dollars.
So you go what works.
So we kept doing it. And we hired some amazing people on the marketing side to kind of help us do those things. Because we're geologists. I don't know how to do that. Throw a rock at it.
Yeah.
And so we ended up way better than we expected. And it's an amazing thing, and it's all because of the whole team, but Laura's a leader, and I'm really proud for not just everybody in the group, but her vision coming to life.
Yeah.
And our Bitcoin mines, all of the equipment is now in San Antonio, so we have everything. We'll be putting that together, and that'll be going live soon. So, this is another bridge to Bitcoin. I don't trust anybody when they say, "Oh, I know Bitcoin."
I know,
you don't.
By the dip.
I don't care if you wrote the Bitcoin standard. You have an idea or a vision of what you want that to be like,
a faith,
but it's not realized.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a huge risk in Bitcoin. I think it's a phenomenal technology. I think it's definitely worth the attention it's getting. I'm not like a Bitcoin bro where I'm all in. But I appreciate those people. But what I heard, which was I think the perfect marriage between oil and gas and Bitcoin, is to mine Bitcoin or to create this, the blockchain, is to have really reliable, powerful energy, cheap, right? That's your biggest overhead, how much you're paying per kilowatt hour. And EnergyFunders, we pay 2.1 to 2.6 cents per kilowatt hour, which is really cheap. That's because we're doing unstranded natural gas. So we have just, we bought these really cheap stranded gas wells, and we can end up putting a container on it, and now it's an income producing.
I love that.
Right? It's just brilliant. But what I'm trying to get to is oil and gas is the energy source, or gas is the energy source, right? So if you're on grid, meaning you're just plugged into that, or your house or office or in a coffee shop and you're mining, you're really never going to get anywhere. And it just throws the cost way up, and you're also pulling on the energy source of the grid for everybody, people that are trying to take care of their kids or just have their lights on. You're putting pressure on those people. So I think it's better to be off grid for a lot of different reasons, like we're doing. But oil and gas companies can be that bridge to Bitcoin. If you really want to mine, which I think we're going to see, we're going to see a 200% increase in mining.
Dude, you're seeing a lot of people in the oil and gas industry getting the Bitcoin, which is kind of similar.
It's a perfect marriage.
Yeah.
I think it was Mario Gutierrez who was the one who schooled me with this idea. He's part of Link Chain Capital or something. I forget his company.
Yeah, he's tuning in, I think.
Oh, sure. I love Mario. But so I like listening to these people and seeing what their vision is, but I think the most realistic vision I've ever heard of is we need crypto or blockchain or whatever you want to call this stuff, and we need a power source to generate it. Oil and gas is the best industry. I think it could also help our industry speak more about what we're capable of, to get people out there.
Well, I mean, think about how many people that touches right now. So Bitcoin is such a huge, it's a global topic right now, okay? For those of you that I will do a plug right now. I just did a kind of an intro to Bitcoin, I don't know much about it, so I had a conversation with David Little, and he's a Bitcoin kind of enthusiast advocate, and he has one of the clearest ways that kind of brought me over the line to Bitcoin, kind of what Bitcoin is and all that stuff. So check out Energy Crew podcast. That's the most recent one that was released. But going back to the Bitcoin thing, I'm digging it because we're talking about kind of being the voices of our industry and kind of talking to people out there. What a better way to have a seat at the table for these discussions than for the oil and gas industry to get into Bitcoin.
Right.
Like that's kind of not only are we exposing ourselves to the market around us, but we're exposing ourselves to the global market, people talking about Bitcoin.
And another piece of that on the Bitcoin side of using natural gas, you'll see initially, and maybe you still do, is you hear the buzzwords like flared natural gas. And what, Laura had this vision when she said we were going to do Bitcoin mining. I thought that was a bad idea. I was like, that's going to ruin our reputation. Yeah. It's like weird and nobody understands it. I was wrong, like usual. And we had more investors come into the fund because of Bitcoin than because of oil and gas by a large margin.
Interesting.
It was fascinating.
Okay.
All I kind of had to do is tell people about it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, man, you don't have to talk anymore." I was.
They probably understand it more than you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They definitely think they do. And what I see is the vision of where do we get our source of energy from for these mines. Some people are going into JVs with an oil company to use their flared natural gas.
Okay.
So if you're the Bitcoin mining company, your job is to obtain Bitcoin. You enter in an agreement with the oil and gas company. They own your power source. Well, suddenly they own the productivity of your company because they rigs go down all the time. And when you're computing or mining, you want it to be on 24/7, right? It'll go down every now and then, but you want it to go as long as possible. Yeah. So if your goal here, let's say you're a publicly traded Bitcoin mining company, and your energy source is based on what this oil and gas company does, if it disappears, you might have months where you're not mining. Right. That is a huge risk.
Especially the volatility of it.
That's why EnergyFunders went to, and this is all Laura's idea and vision, had nothing to do with this. It was, let's do stranded natural gas. We don't need a lot of natural gas production to generate the power necessary. And there's a ton of these wells all throughout, like near Corpus Christi, near San Antonio. Yeah. And they don't make enough to warrant the capital expenditure for pipelines. So you buy them super dirt cheap, and you just put your generator and your mine on there. So we're able to keep our overhead costs extremely low. We own everything nose to tail, so you're not going to have to worry about, the operator wants to shut in the well, or what happens when you're the mining company and the oil company sells. Maybe they sell to X company and it's a private equity backed company. They're like, we want out. Our charter doesn't let us do anything with Bitcoin. Yep. So then you have to go find another power source that might take 2 years. Like that's the problem. Like what we want to do is be insulated, and to our investors, we want to lower risk profiles.
Yes.
Right. So we want to say you are safe. For one, our cost for Bitcoin is super low. It's around $15,000 per coin.
That's it?
That's crazy. So you're buying super cheap, just like oil and gas. Like our break-even price I mentioned earlier is like 25 to 30. That's one of the ways. And then also just management. We're able to own everything and keep it in-house. And if we do partner with somebody, it'll be reputable and stuff like that. So it's really fascinating. I haven't been this excited for something because we're drilling so many wells so fast. We're turning on Bitcoin mines. There's no company doing what we're doing yet. And we just have so much running room with the amount of capital that we were able to raise. We have great supporters, great owners, great staff. And I'm just really excited.
I'm excited for you.
And for the industry as a whole.
I'm excited for you, the team, the industry. Like, I love the idea of kind of like anyone get involved at the wellhead. And that's the cool part, in my opinion. So what else do you have for us right now?
I don't know. We're done.
I don't know.
It's 10:30. I can keep going. What's Scott saying?
Scott is saying, okay, so it's not the only reason that Monica's with me with my long hair.
Oh, my God.
Well, I hope not. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask her, and if it's a good answer, I'll let everyone know. If it's a bad answer, I won't. All right, he's square toe, no beans, and bone-in wings.
I'm with the wings. Dude, I love wings.
Okay, I'm
all about
I accept that.
Bone only. Don't do the no bone thing. And I think it also goes back to my love of ribs, like barbecue ribs.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. One of my favorite things to eat.
Are you a knife and forker with wings?
No.
Okay.
Have you seen something like that?
I don't know.
Have you actually witnessed somebody do that?
Like Seinfeld. Remember his donuts, Snickers?
No, the Snickers, yeah.
I think that'd be a flex. To start eating with a knife and fork.
Flex.
So, well, first off, thanks for coming on, man. It's always good chatting
so
with
much
you.
fun.
It's so much fun.
It is. And we're going to do another live.
We're going to do a live one from the rig, which I'm excited about.
Right. Oh, yeah. And then we're doing
maybe live.
LinkedIn live.
LinkedIn. Oh, yeah. So,
Twitter
real quick. Why don't you kind of give a shout out kind of what's going on in y'all world? So I think next Monday, I believe, at 10:30.
Wow, you're good.
I know. I can't even, I don't even know what I'm doing the rest of the day, but I know this. All right. Next Monday at 10:30, EnergyFunders asked me to kind of host, kind of a LinkedIn moderate. I'll take moderator. That works. Yeah. Title doesn't matter to me. Kind of an EnergyFunders discussion. There's some exciting stuff going on with y'all, with some new stuff.
Yeah, I just barely touched on the elevator pitch of things, but we have a lot of details coming out.
So it's coming out next Monday, 10:30. So head over to EnergyFunders LinkedIn page, because it's gonna be a LinkedIn Live event, and I believe it's probably gonna be eventually carried over to y'all's YouTube channel, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
And then also y'all engage in a lot of Twitter spaces as well for people to kind of whether it's about $100 oil, whether it's a bull market, whatever that is. So y'all have when's your next Twitter space coming out?
Next week, I don't know the details.
That next week?
I think so.
All right.
I don't know. I don't know these details. I just show up. I'm a terrible employee.
You show up in BS.
I just wear the shirt and talk. That's all I do.
I like that shirt. So I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in, Jeff. I want to thank you. And also 10:30 next Monday, check out EnergyFunders. I'll be moderating a discussion for them. I'm excited about that. That's definitely a good time. It's always a good time getting y'all around the table and BS.
It is. And all of y'all, don't be afraid to say you're an oil man or woman and a part of this industry. Your voice helps grow everybody's voice. So
and normalize those energy conversations.
That's right.
Productive energy.
At any family event or meeting, bring up
I don't
politics.
care if it's Thanksgiving, a funeral, a birthday, a birth. You bring it up, all right? I don't care if your wife's giving birth. It's like, what? Well, you better think to the doctor. You better think oil and gas for this. Just be one of those people.
One of the
that's
cool
always
things
fun.
That EnergyFunders, what we're about to do, and Laura, like I just said, our Bitcoin stuff is in-house finally. So we're going to be doing this fun, what I think is fun, unveiling of what is it like to be a Bitcoin miner. And so from day one, a different series part video where day one it arrives, and then how do you get it from here to working?
Love that.
Right? So just trying to give everybody an eye, because there's a lot of talk in that space, and nobody really discusses what is it really like.
It's one of those things too. It's you don't want to ask what it is because that's why the conversation with Dave Little, because I feel like I'm behind the eight. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right. So when people start talking about it, it's ooh, I don't want to chime in because I have no idea. Right. I think there's a lot of people on that, whether it's Bitcoin mining, whether it's oil and gas investing, or whether it's whatever it is.
And I like I said earlier before we started, I am bullish cryptocurrencies, and I'm probably going to buy an Ethereum because they're so cheap right now. They're less than $4,000. I think it's a great time. I definitely put my money where my mouth is, and I'm definitely going to invest I invest with EnergyFunders, and I always put my money where I think I'm a man of action. I try to be.
I put my money where my mouth is.
That's right.
So does anyone have any questions they kind of want to chime in with? If not, we're going to go. I mean, this honestly, this could be like a Bitcoin or that. This could be like an NFT. If you watch this, you can go ahead and donate to Venmo, JP1. No, but if anyone has any questions out there, any comments about whether it's Bitcoin, the future of kind of the oil prices, what's going on right now, and wants to ask Jeff, go ahead. We'll kind of leave this open for maybe another minute if we don't get a question, and we'll just stare awkwardly in silence.
You're so good at this.
No, we won't. We won't stay in silence. But
I think we're good.
I think we're good. But again, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Breakfast Runs with me, JP Warren, and this is Jeffrey Allen. You can find him on LinkedIn. And you want to provide your email for those out there kind of want to learn more about this or anything like that?
Actually, I'm going to plug my new Twitter. You
can
find me on Twitter.
Oh my gosh.
At the Energy Funder.
At the Energy
Funder.
All right, this is going up.
I need some new friends. I don't know. I need some followers on whatever they're called on Twitter. Hit me up, as the cool kids say. I think they still say that, right?
I think they say that.
Yeah.
And then what else? So here's the bottom left is the energy. This is Twitter handle.
And you can just do EnergyFunders.com if you wanted to.
Okay. .com. Here's my Twitter handle. a lot of martinis. EnergyFunders.com. And what else? I think that's kind of it. I want to, again, thank everyone for tuning in. And everyone have a safe week and keep having those conversations about the importance of our industry.
Let's do it. Let's keep going.
Let's do it.
Drill wells.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Royal Completion Tools. And everyone have a great week in Oklahoma. I will see you tomorrow. Midland, I will see you next Tuesday and Wednesday. It's going to be a good time. So, all right, everyone. Take care and have a good day.